Now, I hate to be a dickhead and all, but we've seen pictures. Donald Trump flat up hung up on a journalist and said, Melania doesn't even know Jeffrey Epstein. Hung up on her face, doesn't even know him. Now, we have pictures of that together, all right? And what you're also going to hear is, because I know I distinctly remember that when Michael Wolff, author, did the biography on Donald Trump, that he has a recording. He ran around a bunch of recordings of all people around and then created this biography on Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein is on audio saying that the first time Donald and Melania Trump had sex was on the Lolita Express, his fucking private airplane, all right? And you're even going to hear that Donald Trump is such a nasty, creepy, geeky fucking weirdo, man, that has to pay for sex and shit, that I guess wherever he left Melania back there in the back of the plane or what, I don't know how that works. I've never been on a private plane like that, sorry. How that works, but you're even going to hear that he come running out, I guess, all his tie all messed up and shit, going about Melania. Now, the first time they've ever had sex, that's a hot piece of ass in there. This is what we're dealing with here. I can just see the nerdy fuck doing it too, man. All right, but anyway, so we know that. How's she gonna get over that one? See, how's she gonna get over that one? All right, I just want to point that out. That that is why she came out here and did this. She's trying to get ahead of this shit, man. Is all. Because this doesn't look good. Because you're going to also find out, well, that's a whole other video, okay, guys? But why I'm on the subject of Melania, I suppose let's just do a little video about it, okay? Listen here listen to this, man. She came over here on this visa because she come over here to find a rich husband is what she did. And you know what? And I'm really not shaming women for that. I'm not shaming them from that, really, honestly. If you're a Russian woman or some woman from Eastern Europe or whatever, and you kill, but I mean, if you're going to be in a real marriage where like you really end up, you love your husband and he loves you back and it's you two and whatever. I don't. So you go somewhere where you purposely place yourself where there's nothing but a bunch of wealthy men and you happen to be beautiful, and that exotic Eastern European look that a lot of men really like, and you happen to place yourself there. That's really smart, is what it is. Now, if you're coming over just to be a gold digging bitch and you don't really care, that I object to that. And well, that's what she's doing with him. Okay, see what I mean? But you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to shame when I'm talking about the Russian bride and I'm trying to be funny because she's from Slovenia, which isn't Russia, but you know what I mean. But I'm not shaming that, man. Okay, there are men over here that meet Russian women over there from different organizations and different things, and maybe on the internet, and they end up coming over here and stuff, and then they end up in a good marriage and everything. Not always, but so I'm not shaming that, guys. Okay, please don't take me wrong like that. But this is not what this is. Okay, you're going to hear about this dude Paolo, who works at the White House now. He's an immigrant from Italy. He's a big time. He's a con man like the rest of his cabinet, the rest of his people. I think he's a representative of some bullshit. Look him up, Paolo Zampillo or Zambillo or some shit. It's an Italian name. Look it up. You can find it, no problem. Paolo, all right. He come over here and starts this modeling agency. But what it is it's what it is really is he takes the women from over there in Eastern Europe and shit, and he brings them over here to find wealthy husbands. Is what the game is. Okay. And they place them in lounges. They introduce them to people, like I believe when they're going to tell you that this Paolo guy introduced them, I believe that. I absolutely fucking believe that. That is the modeling agent she was with when she come over here originally. I absolutely fucking believe that. But he's a fucking comment scumbag too. He's a modeling agent. One of the girls was like a young underage girl from Brazil, I believe, that you're going to find out about, who he ended up in a long-term relationship with and had a son with, who, because things were getting messy and I don't know what, I can't think of her name right now, But I'll get back with you on that. That's a whole big thing. Donald Trump had her and her son deported because it was because this dude's old lady and son was getting in his hair. The guy that works there, the guy that introduced these two supposedly, I don't know about that. But do not say that they don't she doesn't know Jeffrey. She fucked Donald Trump the first time on Jeffrey's plane, and there's a bunch of pictures of him. And one of those pictures, man, you guys, I've been around a long time, and I've been young too. One of those pictures, they're on ecstasy. For sure Melania is, or something similar to it. For sure, I can tell by what she looks like with her eyes and stuff. And I'm not dogging her for that. They were young, out there partying in fucking Manhattan. They got a bunch of money. They're not hurting anybody. I'm just telling you, man. And Jeffrey Epstein's right there with Matt, the other one, Ghislaine and all this. So what I'm telling you is, man, in a sense, but see, this isn't like when you hear of trafficking, guys, you think of what? Oh my God, they're chaining people up against their will, snatching people up and selling them to people. It's not all like that, man. All right, this is a form of that. She come over here with the intent of finding a wealthy husband. All right, if you look at her modeling thing over here, she did 10 gigs, and it looked like it was just I think the dates were in September. I think it was just the fall. You know, you have spring. You know, you guys with fashion. I don't know much about that, but I know something. You got the spring line and the fall line. Okay, so the dates were basically she did work in September and October. It shows you she made 20,000 some. I can get you all this information, some dollars for one season. What did she do after that? And this was back in the earlier 90s, guys. Okay, listen. She came over here. I don't have the years right in my head. I'll get them to you, but in the early 90s, and she was over here and she worked for a minute, but God, they only show one season as a model. What else was she doing the whole time? How was she getting money, guys? But then next thing you know, in 2004, but a couple years, or I think it's around that time, a little bit before that, she's supposed to be here on a work visa to do modeling, and then she's supposed to go back. What happens is, I got to get the dates for you. They switch her up to what they call a genius visa. This is, guys, this is for Nobel Prize Nobel Prize laureates. This is for Olympic winners, Olympic heroes, and shit like that. You guys can look this up, man. And they do 5 a year from that country, Slovenia, and they chose her as one of the 5. I believe from here still. Do you understand? A genius scholarship, not scholarship, a genius visa, guys. It's supposed to be for exceptional people. And one of the requirements is you're supposed to have a university degree from accredited school. And they lied on her application from Slovenia. She says she went to the university of some university of Slovenia over there for art and design and shit. She tried to tell them she had an architectural fucking design degree. She's a fucking idiot. You guys, there's a lot of math and high calculus and shit involved with that. All right? Architecture and shit. She's a fucking idiot, man. Give me a break. They found that she was lying. She has no degree. She's never been enrolled past her secondary, like high school there, ever. No college. So as a model, and not a high fashion model, not a big deal model coming over, she wasn't, guys. She did 1 season, 10 jobs. Okay? And made $20,000 in one. That's it. And all of a sudden, she has this visa, which on that visa, guess what? You get to bring your family over too. It's that good because you're supposed to be someone that's going to bring to our society over here, because you've got advanced degrees, and it's engineers and shit like that. And like what I just said, Nobel Prize laureates and fucking Olympic heroes. Look it up, guys. I'm not lying to you. And they added. Look, they did a 1984 movie. They added high fashion model. She was not a high fashion model, guys. She made $20,000. She didn't ever walk for anybody famous. She did some fucking stupid print things. She didn't even walk for anybody, you guys. We'll tell you about everything about her. See you in the next video.